For the longest time, I believe I've purely focused on reaping the benefits of strength exercises. This mainly consists of high intensity, low rep style movements. And by using general analogies and how strength training works, it makes sense that being consistent and comfortable, confident in maximal strength output is the most ideal way of gaining strength. Not hypertrophy or endurance, or like muscular endurance, purely a neurological maximal output. And you want to get used to it. At that point, that becomes a skill. And the reason why I've always thought this was, well, I am a very skills-focused person. The planche has been on my mind for the longest time. And with barbell movements such as the bench press and squats, I am chasing numbers. I'm not necessarily focusing on hypertrophy, though that is also a nice benefit on the side. So this video comes in as a complete contradiction, or at least a whole new novelty to my training. I've tried this out 3 times now, and it's 10 sets of 10 supersetted purely upper work. Now, the first 2 times I've done this, it was 10 sets of pull-ups, 10 sets of 10 pull-ups and dips, supersetted. But I decided to change it up and bring about a bit more of a difference. So I brought in some bench press instead of dips. The reason why I did this was I was bored, I wanted to see how it felt, and honestly, I just enjoy barbell movements. I'm not a purely calisthenics-focused guy. I like to bring about multiple disciplines in fitness and just play around with what I have. What is truly interesting about this session here today was, well, at the end of my session, after I did 9 sets of 10 of that routine, my 10th set, I ramped up my bench press from 50 kilos up to 80 kilos, and I managed to hit 10 reps. That is a PR, and it is very confusing to see or to even recognize that after so much, despite being low intensity, but so much volume throughout this whole session, I was still strong enough to hit a PR, or not even strong enough. I was overloadedly strong today. I didn't even feel all that powerful, and yet the barbell felt light. I think I just got so used to 50 kilos, it didn't feel all that heavy. And on the 9th set, I ramped it up to 70 kilos of bench. I hit 10 for pretty easily. And on my 10th, I did 80. And I believe it's just so happens to be a coincidence on this day. I know for sure that if I just went straight for 80 kilos without any warm-up, I wouldn't have hit 10 reps. But I think the first 9 or 8 sets served as a warm-up. It warmed my muscles up. It did not maximally fatigue it despite the high volume. But as a way of conditioning work, it helped out quite a bit. Obviously, this is a very short-term style, and I refuse to believe that this sudden just session so happened to ramp me up to that 80 kilos. But there's some form of a correlation right there. But when I compare this session to my past 2 10 sets of 10 conditioning work, I believe that I've built up a lot more fitness. And I think this comes down to the topic of GPP work, so general physical preparation workouts. And this is just a matter of making you more fit, increasing your muscular endurance, and getting you prepared for harder movements. So for me here personally, I'm just bored. I don't know what I'm doing with my workouts. I'm training by feel, and I decided that since I'm only hitting strength work about 3 times a week, on a good day maybe 4, on a good week maybe 4 times a week, but those rest of those days, I'm doing whatever. I'm just doing very active forms of recovery. Sometimes it's like hitting a max rep, or a very heavy single, but not really using too much of or not really maximizing my workout to the point where I am accumulating fatigue. Now, obviously, there's a whole new story about CNS fatigue that I'm not, I don't know much about, so I can't really say so too much on that topic. But in terms of muscular fatigue, I'm not building much. I'm not building much a load in that range. So the fact that I'm having these low intense sessions and just purely training my feel, and yet I'm getting stronger, is a whole new novelty to my training journey, because I'm genuinely surprised. And I think we can also attribute this to the fact that if you're so accustomed to one style of training and you bring a new stimulus, and it can be any form of stimulus, maybe a new exercise, supposedly progressively overloading by adding weight, training, like close grip, barbells, just changing like different techniques, or in the end, just changing your rep range and your rep sets, that can just introduce a whole new level of breaking plateaus, getting you more accustomed to different stimulus. And I think that's just very interesting to see, because it just straight up happened in this session. And again, like I repeated before, it's not just because of this one session. It's a build-up of all the other days I've had throughout this week. And when I look at it, I've always thought that I responded well to high frequency, high intensity for like strength exercises. I found that was always a moment in my journey where I had a plateau and I broke through by just overloading myself with high stimulus and high neurological adaptation. Now, obviously, that does help to peak and break that baseline strength, but it does not last. There's no longevity in excessive working and overloading your muscles to the point where you just continuously accumulate fatigue and you overtrain yourself. That's a very inappropriate way of looking at training. So I think this new break of being a bit more conscious of my recovery, just playing around with how my body feels via like auto-regulation, I think that has helped out a lot. And again, there's like that whole idea of like bringing about a new stimulus. It's helping a lot, and I think I'm recovering faster because my body's adapted better to bring in load and just putting my body through stress. The more reps you do, the more accustomed your body gets. Your fitness increases, your conditioning becomes better, and ultimately you can load more volume, more intensity, and more weight in general overall. So I think that comes down to like a whole new journey that I want to pursue. I think it's something interesting to experiment with, and I'm just super excited to see what is in the future. So that's basically it, and I'll finish it off here.